Hello everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel Prince Dakota's Adventures by author E.H. Allen. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm author E.H. Allen, author of the book series Prince Dakota, the Prince Dakota Angel book series. This is the first book in the series, Prince Dakota Angel and the Multiple Universe Guardians Induction. I'll be reading the second part of Chapter 3. Earlier in the other episode, I said this is the end of part 2. I meant to say this is the end of part 1 of chapter 3. So now we'll be going with part 2 of chapter 3. New paragraph. No, actually, I kind of figured you did have an afro. I was just being a smartass. Agent Deke said with a shrug. Yeah, I kind of figured, Agent Hannah said as he chuckled again. And he could be your son. He looks just like you, Agent Deke said with a straight face. Agent Blythe just looked at him with that weird annoyed grin of hers. You do realize Sax is his exact counterpart from another universe? Agent Blythe asked. I do. I also remember being told not everything is exactly the same in every universe. It's just strange, since his son from our universe doesn't look as much like him. That's because his son comes from two parents, Sid and his wife, Agent Blythe shot back. This conversation literally made no real sense, but they were going back and forth like it was a pertinent discussion. Prince Dakota now understood how couples got into fights over the dumbest stuff, and he was certain these two were a potential couple, even if it wasn't obvious to the casual observer. Okay, and moving on, Prince Dakota said as he struggled not to go into hysterics. He glanced at Agent Callan. Yes, Your Majesty? Agent Callan asked in the most respectful tone he'd ever used with a teenager. 14. Prince Dakota said simply as Agent Callan began inspecting the remaining counterpart mugs. It didn't take him long. That one, right there, Agent Callan said with authority as he pointed at a mug that was about 5 feet tall. The mug stepped forward and deactivated his helmet system. They were impressed with his clean-cut appearance. You all must be exceptional government agents to be able to get your guesses right on the first try. Well, we do have an excellent arrest record, Agent Hannah said with a slick half grin. Indeed. Agent Callan, may I introduce your counterpart, Griffin Callan? Prince Dakota said. He shook his head in amazement as the mug walked up and shook Agent Callan's hand. Agent Deeks wasn't able to keep a half grin off his face at hearing his colleague's counterpart was named Griffin, which was even funnier than Mitchell. Everyone, we have a scene change. I'm going to take a break, then I will continue with the next scene. Hello everyone, and welcome back. New scene and paragraph. A short while later. Prince Dakota and his mugs, the MCIS agents, Interpol officers, and the rest from the other countries were ready to mount their assault on the Vamp Castle. They had all been assigned to groups and were awaiting the final order. Everyone was assigned a location to breach the castle. A small group was going undercover to tour the castle and visit a famous antechamber where meetings of local elders took place. But it was actually where several vamps would trap unsuspecting human visitors, kill them, and drain them viciously of their blood. The group would be armed and ready when the vamps attacked. Several younger mugs would be with that tour group, so the vamps wouldn't suspect them to be undercover superpower soldiers. The young adult mugs and some Interpol agents in the group were playing their chaperones. Since Dickie was pregnant, he wouldn't be allowed to physically be present on the op, but he'd be able to attend via a portable holographic emitter, which would transmit his image from a holodeck room. The emitter he'd be using today was a weaponized version and would be armed to the teeth. The emitter would hide Dickie's pregnancy while his image was in the castle. Dakota was going to make a short speech, and then they were going to get to it. General Carter was in command of the operation and will give the order to go. The vamps had no idea what was about to happen to them, or so everyone thought. Dakota was getting ready to walk up to a raised podium to give his short speech when he saw Riker, Bryce, and Malcolm quickly headed towards him. He resisted rolling his eyes, since he knew they were about to give some bad news. New paragraph. Do I even want to know what you guys are about to tell me? Prince Dakota asked, with a hint of annoyance. He tried not to get too irritated, since his mugs were only doing their job and gathering intelligence. General Carter and the MCIS agents were watching quietly nearby while they'd been waiting for Dakota to start his short briefing speech. They weren't close enough to hear the conversation, but he suspected some of them might be trying to read his lips and those of the mugs briefing him on whatever latest info had just come up. New paragraph. No, but we need to tell you, Malcolm said with a hint of nervousness, afraid Prince Dakota might shoot the messengers. Indeed. And where are the quads? They were just in here a few minutes ago, Prince Dakota said as he glanced around to see them nowhere in sight. They're in a holodeck room with Dickie, getting him synced up with the weapons emitter. Ricky just finished up, and he, Nikki, and Dee are on their way back here. Ooh, those vamps are in for a surprise when they try to attack the Dickie weapons drone. He's itching to shoot something, Prince Dakota said with a wicked grin. Indeed. What do you have for me? Prince Dakota asked as he realized Malcolm was holding a computer notepad and no doubt had info on it related to the current situation. Oh, it's good, and it's probably going to piss off Hetty, Malcolm said with a smarmy half grin on his face as he glanced in Hetty's direction to see her looking directly at him with that annoyed half grin of hers. He quickly glanced away and back at Prince Dakota, who was grinning at him. Be careful, Malcolm. She's a secret agent who can read lips. So she's probably wondering why you just mentioned her name, Prince Dakota said as he tipped his head in Hetty's direction. Malcolm was slick and turned his body slightly so his lips would be facing away from Hetty. Dakota decided that she was such an accomplished agent that she could probably determine what Malcolm was saying just from the movements the back of his cheeks made when he talked. New paragraph. Well, you guys seemed eager to go after the deep mole you were discussing earlier that works for the vamps, Malcolm said and grinned at the juicy info he had, but would drag it out as long as possible just to drive Prince Dakota nuts. But he was certain the good prince would figure out what had happened. He was too intuitive for his own good and rolled his eyes as he suddenly realized what Malcolm was trying to tell him. New paragraph. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. The vamp spy turned himself in? Prince Dakota asked as he just looked at Malcolm dumbfounded. He glanced at General Carter and the MCIS agents and shook his head slightly in amazement. He was certain they'd figured out what Malcolm just told him. Malcolm had a gift when it came to giving subtle hints about what he was trying to convey. He seemed to enjoy watching people go into shock and nearly suffer an apoplexy. New paragraph. As of 10 minutes ago at Langley, CIA headquarters, Prince Dakota said with a stupefied look. Prince Dakota asked with a stupefied look. Yep. For the love of God, why? Was he high or something? I was sure he was on the run and I'd have to chase his ass down, Prince Dakota said, clearly disappointed. He wouldn't be able to chase after a vamp spy. Malcolm thought it was almost laughable. His boss was upset at having less work to do. But he had to admit it was fun chasing after bad guys with hyper-advanced technology at your disposal. Bryce, Riker, and the Quad seemed to enjoy it too, and they made no secret of that fact. New paragraph. Well, he clearly explained his role in the whole deal and why he did it. Let me guess. He knew the mugs would be coming after him. He did, and said that was the main reason he decided not to run. He sounds like a smart man. Oh, he is. Graduated from MIT, summa cum laude. So what? He just up and walked into CIA headquarters past security? He did, because he works there. He's a top-level analyst. He does a little field work like setting up safe houses all over the world. Hence is how he came into contact with the vamps in the first place. Oh, good grief, Prince Dakota said as he brought both hands up and lightly massaged his face in irritation. It gets better, Malcolm said happily, as if he was enjoying giving this wonderful news. Indeed. Does it now? Indeed. And I've already told Ricky to tell General Carter and the others when they get back in here. In fact, here they come now, Malcolm said as he gestured in that direction to see Ricky, Nikki, and Dee walking at a fast pace towards Hetty, who already knew they were headed towards her and was already facing in their direction with a smirk on her face. She knew their info was juicy to say the least. This op was quickly turning into a brouhaha. New paragraph. So, I'm guessing this vamp spy isn't an actual vamp, Prince Dakota said as he looked at Malcolm thoughtfully. No, he's definitely human. He just works for them and has for quite a while. From the look on your face, I'm guessing several years. 10 to be exact. Wow, Prince Dakota said as he rolled his eyes again and chuckled. I bet you're wondering how in blazes he came to work for them. The thought had occurred, Prince Dakota said, as he observed Ricky informing General Carter and the others about the new development. He was amused at the disappointment he saw in the MCIS agents' faces at losing the opportunity to chase after a human spy working for evil extraterrestrials. Everyone, I'm going to take a quick break and then I will continue. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. New paragraph. When he was working in Europe, he had the weekend off and decided to take a tour of the Banff Castle. He had heard online chatter of people disappearing in the castle, but not why or how. He was curious and decided to check it out. He decided to go alone and not involve any of his colleagues for their safety, Malcolm said. And they didn't kill him and drink his blood because? Prince Dakota asked, unable to keep a wry half grin off his face, knowing the answer would be good. Because he has a high security clearance and he's known CIA. He doesn't do undercover work. He's more of a hardware techie and does a lot of classified installation work. He had been seen questioning terrorist witnesses on the street. The Vamps have been on Earth 7,000 years, so they've learned a few things about modern humans, and they've learned not to mess with secret agents of powerful governments. There's a reason the Vamps have pretty much stayed in the shadows, and the CIA, Interpol, Russian, Chinese, and other agents, and the militaries from strong nations is one of them. There's others, but for the interest of time, I won't get into that, and I won't get into them now, Malcolm said as he waved a dismissive hand in the air. New paragraph. So they probably knew he was CIA as soon as he walked into the castle, Prince Dakota said as he nodded his head in understanding. You got it. And there's one more thing about this whole deal, Malcolm said as he grinned wryly, as though he was enjoying what he was going to say next. For Prince Dakota was no dummy and already figured it out. New paragraph. He was a double spy, wasn't he? Prince Dakota asked. He chuckled, now amused at that development. You got it. He was approached by the CIA director, president, and Pentagon about going to the Banff Castle to take a tour to try and determine why people were suddenly vanishing. The president had a theory, and he suspected there was a sinister extraterrestrial theme to the whole situation, but wanted to be sure. Everyone involved had top secret clearance to the SGC and other Stargate-related issues. The analyst was also read in and signed an NDA. Since the Vamps arrived on Earth so long ago, General Carter had no proof they were aliens, since no advanced tech had surfaced as far as the Vamps were concerned. But she has a feeling there's something in that Vamp Castle we may want to look out for, Malcolm said as he grinned slightly again. And Prince Dakota knew the Inceptum found out something else during their routine scan of the Vamp Castle. New paragraph. The exec security officer found an explosive device, didn't she? Prince Dakota asked as he briefly closed his eyes and brought a thumb and forefinger up to his face and lightly massaged the bridge of his nose in irritation. Would you like to guess how big it is? No, just tell me, Prince Dakota said as he shook his head in irritation as he dropped his hand by his side. Well, it's not too bad. Just a few megatons. Megatons, Malcolm said. He nearly went into hysterics at the extremely annoyed look that developed on Prince Dakota's face right after the word megatons was said. A few being? Prince Dakota asked as he briefly glanced at General Carter right as she looked at him with slightly wide eyes. Ricky had obviously told her the same thing. 80, Malcolm said calmly, like he was simply giving an ingredient to a recipe. For the love of God, why so big? Prince Dakota asked as he gritted his teeth, balled his fist, and shook his head again. We've got no concrete information, but I believe they may want to go out with a bang, take out as many as they can. Malcolm said certain the Mugs would be able to find and disarm the ridiculously large nuclear bomb. New paragraph. Oh, they'll take out half the country and poison the soil and water in several European countries for centuries. Do we at least know where the bomb is and what it's made of? Yes and yes. It's nuclear powered and appears to be a small fusion neutron reactor remodified into a bomb. The trigger is a small amount of plutonium and plastic explosive, but deep scans show the reactor is old, at least 7,000 years. It appears to have been rebuilt with added modern parts. It must be one of the old reactors they brought with them on their ships when they first arrived on Earth. Okay, so now we know what it's made of, and it's located in a room in the attic, Malcolm said. He was impressed at a 5-story castle, which was technically 6 stories with the attic. Okay, I want the best people on that bomb, Malcolm, Prince Dakota said, and Malcolm finished for him. I know you want me, Randy Taylor, Ricky, D. Rural, and DC to find and deactivate the bomb. Malcolm said with a hint of annoyance since it seems like he always ended up doing the most dangerous stuff on mug missions. But he was a genius. So there's that. New paragraph. You're too smart for your own good. And take some goons with you to protect y'all from those vamps. You can't concentrate on finding the bomb if you're constantly fighting them off. I'll send Worf and a few more Klingons with you. Those vamps will stand a chance against those warriors and that buff Orion teenager we recruited 2 months ago, Prince Dakota said with a wicked grin as he contemplated the beating the vamp creeps would receive once those aliens started in on them. New paragraph. I'm on it, boss, Malcolm said as he started typing commands into his computer notepad. I'm going to start the speech, and then we need to get this show on the road, Prince Dakota said as he turned and dashed up to the podium. Everyone heard a deep tone sound several times. They all looked up to see Dakota step onto the podium. I'm going to take another quick break, then I'll continue. Welcome back. New paragraph. If I could have everyone's attention, His Majesty is starting his speech, Malcolm's voice said over the cargo bay speakers. The chatting quickly quieted down, and then Prince Dakota got to it. Thank you, everyone. Now I'm going to keep this short since time is short. We have a job to do and people to save, a lot of them. That bomb is now top priority. We have people that need saving, but I've assigned a team to specifically find and deactivate that bomb. If it goes off, your defensive shield will protect you from the blast and radiation. But the population in the blast radius isn't so lucky. It's in the millions. Even though the castle is in a very rural area, the blast wave will reach all the way to the nearest major city. The bomb team is to focus on that and only that. The rest will rescue the hostages. And when this is all over, we'll find the vamps a new planet to live on. Watch each other's backs, stay safe, and let's kick some ass, Prince Dakota said with gusto. Several people cheered and pumped their fists in the air. New paragraph. Oh boy, this fight is going to be good, Agent Deke said when everyone began double-checking all their weapons to make sure everything worked properly. Indeed it is, Agent Hedda said with a half grin as he checked his energy rifle. He so hoped they might get to acquire one of these weapons to use in the MCIS arsenal. Everyone started splitting up and heading to the wormhole exit doors to meet up with their teams. After a few minutes, everyone was ready and awaiting General Carter's command. She and Dr. Wade returned to the ship's command center to monitor the operation. Hetty and Director Vance would be assisting Dickie with portable hollow emitters of their own. There would be 3 weapons emitters in the castles. The vamps didn't stand a chance. New paragraph. Everyone, you have a go, General Carter said into a microphone that transmitted the command to everyone's communication systems. Just before the wormhole doors were activated so they could begin breaching the vamp castle, Malcolm yelled out, Everybody, wait! Stop! The tactical officer just called me, and he found 2 more bombs, and both of them are in the U.S. One is in D.C., and the other is in New York City, Malcolm yelled as he looked at Prince Dakota with wide eyes. Good grief, this mission just keeps getting better, Agent Hedda said with an annoyed tone as he shook his head in irritation. Everyone, that's the end of Chapter 3, and then the next episode, I will start on Chapter 4, Rainbows, Sapphires, and Blue Diamonds. Take care, and I'll see you later.